Right. Now, today is what? Sunday the 15th of January 2023. We're in London, and today we're going to do an interview about probably the most famous sound system, reggae sound system to come out of Derby, Enforcer sound system. And today we have Lloyd and his brother Cliff, who were basically the founders and the owners of Enforcer sound system from Derby. Guys, thank you very much for allowing me to take a chunk out of your Sunday.
Thank you.
Lloyd, thank you for all the harassment you've put up from me being this fan who's obsessed with Enforcer, all the phone calls and harassment I've been giving you, but
no problem. No problem at all.
Right, so basically I wanted to talk today about Enforcer. So if you want to introduce yourselves.
Well, I'm Lloyd, and Enforcer Hi-Fi, we was one of the best sounds in Derby that come out of Derby.
Yeah.
We also we give thanks to Castro, because he was our main competitor in the sound system. Obviously he started off before us, but on the old Enforcer came along and we took that title away from him.
Right.
Yeah, I'm Cliff. Enforcer started well before we became known to everybody. Started basically early 70s.
Yeah.
Where we played at basically house parties in a small way. Really birthday parties and so on, before anything else. And as we became known and got better at it, we just sort of went out into the wider world with a sound system, then playing up blues and so forth.
So you're the two founder members, brothers as well. Yeah. So were you born in Derby, or
I was born in England, in Derby.
Yeah.
And my brother.
Yeah, I mean, I was born in Jamaica, but it's only to the fact that our mum went pregnant to Jamaica at that time for on holiday. And yeah, I was born in Jamaica. We came back within 2 years to England, so really I'm more English than Jamaican.
Yeah. And your parents came from Jamaica.
Yeah.
What year did they settle in Derby?
Well, my dad came about 55.
55, that's quite early.
55. Yeah, my mum came probably about 56. Yeah.
Wicked. So you've come to Derby. Which area of Derby did your family move to?
Cambridge, isn't it? Cambridge.
Yeah, it's still part of Normanton. Really.
It's Normanton. It's Normanton, really, but
the Normanton area of Derby.
We lived down Molyneux Street, which is part of Pear Tree. Part of Normanton.
Yeah,
and you know what I mean. But Cambridge, we used to live on Molyneux Street.
Yeah. And for those people who don't know Derby, Normanton and the adjoining Pear Tree area are basically the main ethnic minority area of Derby. At first it was Caribbean immigrants who moved to the area, and then later on you had lots of people from India and Pakistan. So Derby's main Afro-Caribbean area was at that time Normanton and Pear Tree. Yeah. Cool.
Definitely.
So, I mean, you obviously come to Derby. So, when you were growing up, what were your kind of memories of the sound system scene in Derby? I mean, the older generation to you. Was there a big sound system scene? Was there a blues scene?
There was a sound system in Derby before we came along, called Castro. And you also had Big Six, and the one from Burton as well, Big Six. Can't remember that one, but yeah, there was a few sounds around at that time, and we used to go. I used to go to the Havana Club, and listen to Lloyd Castro, and you know.
So what year was this when you started getting, you know, when you became aware of sound systems? What sort of year are we talking about roughly?
70s.
Yeah, that was early 70s.
Early 1970s.
Yeah, early 1970s. It wasn't nothing that although we heard of it and knew about it, it wasn't something we said, yeah, we're going to build a sound system, and you know, it just happened.
Organically, right?
Yeah, organically, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was only Castro really.
It was only Castro was our main.
And they were were they your parents' generation of people who started?
Yes. I'd say he was a.
So he must have been around from the 60s. Then.
Yeah, he was. He was probably around from the 60s, isn't he? And earlier, you know what I mean?
So Castro, around in the 60s, was the main kind of like sound system.
Yes,
in Derby. Okay.
Yes.
And growing up in Normanton and Peartree when you were youths, was it mainly Caribbean, or was there a large Asian community at that time, or did they come later?
There was Asian community around there.
Yeah, there was.
As well, yeah, because even when we went to school, you know, we had.
It was still fairly mixed in terms of.
Yeah.
You know, because the majority was West Indians.
West Indian,
Majority was West Indians. Yeah. A few Indians, but there was a lot of white people there for many years as well as we was growing up. Most of the shops on Normanton Road was owned by white people and so forth. And I think Tommy Das was the first black man to have a grocery shop.
Yeah.
Because even when top of the road, they used to have that other white. I can't remember his name. At the top of the road there, that shop there. So it was a mixed area.
It was
well mixed. It was well mixed.
You know, a lot of black people there, and
especially around the Normanton Peartree area. You know, you had a lot of white people. I mean, look at Sharon Morgan and all those. You know, there was a lot of white people around there.
So it was more mixed in those days.
It was well
than
mixed,
it was in later years, in the 80s and 90s.
Because there was a baseball ground close by,
football ground,
and most of the houses was built for the normal workers because you had British Rail and all that. Cylinders and all those companies there, so all those houses was built for them. So there was a lot of white people in that area still. It was a very nice area to grow up in.
It was good.
We used to go to Arboretum Park. There was a nice mixture of
people,
white and blacks there, and it was a well-kept park and all that. So it was a nice area to begin with.
Great. So growing up in that area, obviously, when you became musically aware, when I mean, you mentioned Castro was the main sound system which started in the 60s in Derby. When did you as youths become musically aware and interested in music?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I would say I was more interested in like going out to places like such as blues and all that lot. Because I was only about probably about 14, 15, and I was out in blues all night.
So there was a big Shabeen blues scene in.
There was a big
in Normanton, Peartree.
Yeah, Normanton. There was always blues around there, and you know, I used to go to all of them when I should be in my bed. Yeah, you know, I mean.
So you used to creep out.
I used to. Once I go out, I'm out all day, and sometimes I don't even come home the next day.
Right, and
and I was only 14, 15.
14.
Yeah.
So this is like early 70s.
That was early 70s, yeah.
So name some famous blues that were around in those times, or they're probably known by the street they were on, or the owner that used to own them.
Beecher Street used to be a few on, and
there's
Street.
Which street?
Beecher Street.
Beecher Street,
Cambridge.
There was Cambridge Street. And there used to be a cafe on Pear Tree Road with this. Well, what's the guy name? Hurl. This Hurl. He used to own a blues cafe on Pear Tree Road.
Right.
And you know, we'd go in there, have a night time, and you know, we'd spend all night in there. You know, yeah, I mean, within our area there was always
a few blues.
Yeah.
Now there's going to be a lot of people who may watch this video and they don't know what a blues or a shebeen is.
Well,
and now, I am aware of the fact that back in the 60s, 70s and 80s, sometimes there was hostility about, you know, people of colour going into discotheques or nightclubs. So my understanding is one of the reasons why blues and shebeen started was because you felt safe, B, you could hear the music you wanted to hear. But if you want to elaborate for the viewers what a blues or a shebeen is.
Well, it's partly correct what you say there, but I mean, in Derby context, there's only Havana. I can't remember when that came along, but used to close about 11 o'clock because of, obviously,
the Havana, the famous Havana Club. That was the only black club in Derby. Yeah.
And what was the guy's name who used to own Havana?
Ricky.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and most cases the clubs used to have to close around 11 o'clock. So what do you do after 11 o'clock? So
it was always a blues
at someone's house.
At somebody's house.
So blues was in a house or a cellar.
Yeah. Whichever what you want to call
basically
it.
a house.
It was basically a house.
Because we had quite a few.
Yeah, because it's like he says. I mean, you know, Havana at them times there under ordinary clubs, they used to shut about 11 o'clock.
And that's only when people start warming up.
Yeah. So what do you do after that? Yeah. So we all go to blues party. At somebody's house, there's always a blues party there.
Yeah.
And that's how we
So what was the setup in the blues? Was there a sound system in there?
Yeah, there was a sound in there. You had to pay to go in as well, didn't you?
Well,
in some of them
you had to pay.
In some of them,
most of them was free, and you sold drinks.
They sold drink, yeah.
When we started having blues. It was just.
That was down Cambridge Street.
Yeah, it's free to go in and we sell the drinks.
Yeah, so you make your money out of the drinks and stuff.
Yeah. So and that used to be packed out till the early hours. And where else do you play reggae music? So most of the other clubs
you couldn't go in town and hear reggae music in the discos. And was there any hostility? I mean, when young black men wanted to go into town in the 70s and 80s?
Very much so, because we used.
Well, if it was going.
Remember when Havana was on? We used to go. There was a lot of black people would go to like Pink Coconut.
Right.
You know.
That's another famous.
That's another famous
white club.
Yeah, white club.
In Derby City Centre.
In Derby City Centre.
Yeah.
Until the period comes where yes, they'll go there to a certain time, and then they'll always come back to the Havana Club.
Okay.
As well, but there was a lot of trouble out there as well with the white guys.
The white guys, there was a bit of racism in the city centre.
In the city centre, yeah. With all.
I think that used to be the sort of soul disco scene, which it's completely different from the reggae scene. I mean, but in those days there, before we started going to blues and all that, like there, it was always going to the disco scene, which was, like you said, the Pink Coconut. Which was the other one? That was on bottom of anyway, you had Pink Coconut, Pennine. There was a club at the Pennine. I can't remember what that was called. Run by the Pennine Hotel.
Yeah, it was by the Pennine Hotel.
But for the black music scene,
and Tiffany's, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Tiffany's was.
So these are all mainstream black discos, mainly white crowd in the centre of Derby.
And Cleopatra. Down Badminton Lane.
So there's always were in the early days hostilities between black and white, simply because they didn't want a lot of blacks in those places.
And the door policy as well meant you could be dressed up to go, and then they make some excuse not to let you in.
But, I don't think that's the reason why we went into reggae music. That was a whole different scene
altogether.
Because a lot of my friends at the time, they was into Northern Soul, and they used to go down Cleopatra's, and I used to go to Cleopatra's for a little while in that scene. But the reggae scene has always been, there was only Havana, or later on you hired a hall, and then we went to weddings, funerals,
christenings.
That's where it kind of organically developed over the years. And Castro, and there was other smaller sound systems like.
Well, we used to, with Havana, used to be Dows's Club Carib, innit?
Well, yeah,
that came at a later date, though.
They used to. We used to go there, but it wasn't for sound systems.
No,
it was a DJ there. They used to play reggae and soul and you know.
But there was a lot of the Havana guys used to go there. And we used to get a lot of stick. You couldn't do no smoking in there. You know the owner was, you know, we sometime wonder if
it was a nice family club. It was a nice family club.
But it was our cousins, isn't it? The Dowses.
Yeah, and
I suppose you're lucky because in the 70s having a black club, I mean a lot of towns never had that. So Havana was iconic in Derby.
Havana is the iconic one you would relate to. Well, then, like I said, later on we had Dows's Club, Carib.
Carib Club.
Which was a nice club as well, you know. I mean, eventually, you know, the owner know that there was a lot of these guys who come up, but you couldn't do no smoking and anything like that.
Well, I think Havana was Castro's was their resident DJ there, because Havana never had its own PA system in there.
So they had to have a sound system in
of some sort. So
when did Havana start, by the way? Do you know when it opened?
No, it was before.
No, it was long before us.
So maybe 60s.
Late 60s.
So basically, you're growing up in Derby. You can try to venture to the city centre discotheques, but sometimes there's hostility, and sometimes you don't get to hear the music you want to hear. So the blues scene, which are basically illegal nightclubs in a house where you pay to get in or pay for drinks, and there's a sound system in there playing reggae music till, I understand, 6 or 7 in the morning sometimes. You know, sometimes even later than that. And there was a few of them in the Normanton and Peartree area. You also had one of the first black clubs, the Havana, which started in the 60s, where you could hear music, but even there was restrictions. It closed early, 11 o'clock. You couldn't have a little smoke or whatever. So kind of.
Well, you're not supposed to smoke in there, but you know, there was a lot of that.
So that was basically the restrictions and why obviously the blues scene was there. So that's, and obviously at this time you've got early sounds like Castro, which started in the 60s, and one or two other sounds. So what was the beginning of your journey? I think, Cliff, before the camera was on, you mentioned the story about your first equipment and stuff like that. So, and that was how the beginnings of Enforcer, if you like. So do you want to share with us that kind of how the idea of a sound system started?
Well, yeah, I mean, many years before, my uncle was emigrating to Canada, and he had a radiogram. In the black community, it's almost every house had a radiogram of some sort. When my uncle first came from Jamaica, he used to have his radiogram, and he played blues records and all that kind of stuff.
Blue beat.
Yeah, blue beat and all that. And he left Derby and went to London. And when my father drove us to London to see him off from Southampton, he used to be on ships in those days, not on an airplane.
Okay.
My uncle gave me his radiogram, but I said to my uncle, how am I going to get it back to Derby? Because it can't fit in the car. Anyway, So I stripped it down, took the turntable and the amplifier out and the speakers out, shoved it in a box and brought it back to Derby in the boot of the car,
wow.
leaving the old framework of the radiogram.
What year was this then, roughly?
This was about 1973.
73?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I brought that back to Derby, and in my woodworking class at school,
yeah,
that was Dale School for Boys way back then.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I had a good woodworking teacher that allowed me to build the casing for the turntable and the casing for the amplifier and the casing for the speakers.
Yeah.
And when my elder brother was 21, well, in the meantime, Lloyd bought a lot of records. You know, he used to go to, I think it was Mackie's shop on
Mackie, yeah.
Then,
so there was a black record shop in Derby in the 70s.
Mackie, and the other guy there, what's his name? He used to have a garage he used to have a garage at where on Newtoxter Road.
Newtoxter.
Mr. Newman or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, they used to have a record shop on Peartree Road, Normanton Road, and Lloyd used to buy records there.
Yeah.
I remember when my brother was 21, he asked me if I could play at his birthday party. He was 21, and Scotty, what's his called? Scotty, what's his first name?
Michael Scott.
Michael Scott, and my brother was 21. So they wanted a birthday party, and they asked me if I would play there, and I says, I've never played at a disco, you know, I've been just playing Lloyd's records in my bedroom, like.
Yeah, yeah.
So I went and got a few records from Mackie. I think he used to have a record shop down Peartree Road. And yeah, played at the party with me, one speaker box and the little turntable and whatever. And it was so packed out, and it was really good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got the taste of the success of that night, and everyone kept asking me days after, when can you play at my party? Can you play at my party?
So this was in a house you played?
House party, yeah.
House party.
Yeah, you know, birthday parties basically. So yeah, I took it up, and then that's where we start. And then we decided to, after a while, I spoke to my brother here when he came back from wherever he was, and because he was always all over the place, London, Leicester, wherever. And I says, oh well, me and my mates went down to watch a movie down the cinema. It was Clint Eastwood, and he was the Enforcer, so we'll call the sound system Enforcer.
So this Enforcer was named after a Clint Eastwood film called Enforcer.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I started to build the speaker boxes.
Right. And where did you kind of like? So this is you're still using the Gram equipment that your uncle gave you.
Yeah, I was using that.
And you're building boxes for the speakers.
Yeah, well, yeah, I started building speaker boxes because obviously playing in halls and playing in bigger venues, you need the proper equipment.
Yeah.
And so, and it needed a bit more money as well because I was an apprentice.
Yeah.
And then so there was me, Lloyd, Brendan, Whitaker, who was part of with us, Enforcer. And so they would always bring me the money, and then I would design and build the speakers boxes. And you would play that, like I said, locally to begin with, house parties, weddings, christenings.
So this was like 73, 74?
Yeah, no. The 73 and 74 was like the initial stages.
Yeah.
But we really didn't really start playing until after about 70. In the larger venues, until around about 78, going on 79, 80.
78, 79. So that's when Enforcer with the bigger equipment started playing outdoors. Okay. So in those days, I mean, obviously you didn't just rely on the Gram equipment. You had to kind of upgrade. So when did you start upgrading and buying amps and preamps and speakers and stuff? What year was that? Roughly?
Yeah, well, probably from 75 onwards, I would say.
Yeah.
Because obviously I was an apprentice and earning some money to do that. And I remember I was living at my dad's at the time, and when my dad used to go to work on nights, we had a big bathroom about the size of this living room here. And my dad used to come in the morning and he'd go to the bathroom and see these big things being assembled in the bathroom. Can you believe it? I mean, there was 4 foot by 24 inches by 2 foot wide boxes in his bathroom, 4 of them being built and painted and all this kind of stuff. And you know something, I've got to give credit to my dad because he allowed me to build these PA boxes in the bathroom.
Right, so you had a sound system equipment everywhere in your family house?
No, it was just in the bathroom. That's where he allowed me to build them and assemble the first 4 reflex on the grey ones.
The grey ones.
So I built 4 there, and then I kind of felt sorry for my dad then, and so yeah, I'm about 18 now or whatever. Yeah. And so I decided to go down to the housing association and see if they'll give me an house. I want to move out of my dad's house and all this kind of stuff. And they says to me when I went to the interview, oh, we've never done this for anybody before, but we're going to take a chance on you and give you an house. And it was down on Cambridge Street.
In Normanton.
Yeah, and so we got a house down Cambridge Street, and we moved out the boxes from my dad's bathroom and into Cambridge Street. That's where I completed building all the other boxes, the PA smaller ones, all of them, and that's where we used to store them. So I built a quad box and all that kind of stuff there. But it was
mid-range.
So how, like in Derby, I mean, I've heard of all these legendary names like Barracuda, Lynx and Legs, and the people in the Afro-Caribbean community that are well known for building amplifiers and stuff like that. Where did you get your amplifiers from and your speakers? Was anyone in Derby that was making them, or did you have to go out of town?
No, I used to buy Celestian speakers, which we use for all our bass quad boxes.
And you could buy them from the shops?
Yeah, there used to be an electronic shop on
Badminton Lane.
Badminton Lane, and I got all the Celestian speaker. Start with the reflex quad boxes. I used 15-inch. With the quad boxes, which was big like wardrobes, they used 18-inch, and so we got all that from them. Now the amplifiers which we used was transistor amplifiers, which normal bands would use, PA bands would use.
Okay.
But like Castro and all those, they used to have their amplifiers built with all those valves.
Yeah, from legendary people like Lynx and Barracuda, or some people used to go to Jar Tubbies and
They had the valve system. Okay, but when I didn't have access to buying the valve system and all that kind of stuff there, so I went transistors. Yeah. And I used the PA which most bands would use when they're playing live on stage kind of stuff. And we had probably about 12 transistorized,
six in each case.
Transistorized amplifiers. That was basically for the bass, well, for everything. But we had special. There was a chap called Mackie, which he would build the
transistors.
He would build
transistor. It was
but
it was for the mid-range, wasn't it?
No, but that it was like an equalizer, which he would. Mackie
You're
would
talking
build.
about the preamp.
Yeah, the preamp.
The preamp.
Yeah, what Mackie would build.
Yeah, but didn't he build us a 600?
Yeah, Well, we had a 600 one there, which would normally
600 watt amplifier,
which would normally control the mid range and so forth. All the heavy ones was by the transistor. But he also built like an equalizer preamp. Preamp.
So Mackie was the owner of that record shop.
No, he was. But after he finished that record shop, I think he sold it to Mr. whatever, can't remember his name, but anyway, he went into building amplifiers.
So this was a local guy from the older generation.
No, it was our generation.
He's your generation, but he was technically not.
Oh, it was technically because he used to build amps for a few sounds down London, as well as Birmingham as well.
So so you had someone with sound system knowledge about building amps. In Derby. Because most towns outside of London, Birmingham, they never had that. They'd have to go to Birmingham or London. But you had a Derby-based man, Mackie, that could build your amps.
Yeah, sometimes our amplifier or our preamp would be messed up, innit? And he either would he would service it and get it sorted out for us, and if not, we'll go to the Havana to play the dance, and he'll come down there and do the fine tuning and all that.
He was very good at
it. He's very good.
So you're very lucky because you've got an amp builder in Derby, right? And you've got you even had a black record shop in Derby back. Was that black record shop open in the 70s or the 60s, or was it like before?
That was before, isn't it?
Well, it was open in the 70s because you I can't remember the chap name, but like I said, he owned the garage at what you call it there, and so Mackie was one of those who owned that record shop at Petrie, because I used to buy records from Mackie in the early days.
Was it like ska, blue beat, or
everything
reggae?
Imports, everything you can get from Jamaica.
So 7-inch pre's you could get in those days in Derby. You didn't have to go to Nottingham.
No, not at all. I mean, I don't think we'd been to one record shop out. We only used to go Derby and London and Wellington.
But the only time we went to London was when he had a record shop. When he had a record shop, then we used to go to the wholesalers down in London and get all the pre-releases and all the.
But Mackie.
Cool. But Mackie basically was your technical man. You didn't have to go nowhere.
No, don't have to go nowhere.
He built all the preamp and he built the amplifiers if you wanted as well. So we built one for all the mid-range speakers and the preamp, which designed to what you need. So you had the treble, the deep bass, and you could manipulate the sound to some degree there.
So, while you were growing up and while Enforcer was being developed, or even slightly before Enforcer, did big sound systems come and play in Derby? What was your experience?
Castro was there.
Castro was there.
But out of town ones from London and Birmingham, did they used to come to Derby?
No. Not really. Even when Castro was there wasn't big sounds coming in from outside, was it?
There was only one that used to. When I was about 18 or something.
Mid-70s,
This was about 78 or whatever the case is. I did go to Havana and remember Quaker from Birmingham.
Quaker City.
Quaker and Castro, but Quaker always used to wipe the floor with
Castro.
But Quaker was the only one that probably was a start of the that was the first one
So there wasn't really a long history before the 80s of a lot of out-of-town sounds like Shaka, Coxon, Jungle Man or whatever coming to Derby. So you never had that influx of sound. So your main inspiration was Castro, basically.
Yeah, but also, Castro was the main one.
Any sound what came to Derby, Castro was the one what.
Because he was a resident DJ as well in Havana.
Because that was going to be my next question. So you started the sound, you got the equipment and everything. So, I mean, in those days there was no sound tapes, was there? In the 70s, like in the 80s, you used to get Shaka, Coxon tapes and Saxon tapes and Coxon, But in those days, there was no sound tapes. There was no black pirate radio stations, right? So that was what I was going to ask you. When you started Enforcer, how did you develop your style? Was it through listening to Castro, or
No, I mean, no. The thing is,
every sound has a style, don't they?
But back in those days, everybody practically was roots, innit?
Yeah, roots and culture.
Roots and culture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You'll have the lovers rock and all that lot coming through, but the majority of people was roots and culture. You know what I mean? So you can imagine the sort of music what we was playing in the early part it was pure roots and culture.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing is, I didn't go to a lot of dances where Castro would play like at Havana, because obviously, you know, growing up, it's only when I started to play, I used to find it, I used to play more for entertainment, to house parties, what people wanted to hear, whether it's a bit of soul, a bit of reggae, so forth. So it was never.
You could test the water.
Well, if you're going to play at a wedding and play at a birthday party, I wanted to play to the audience, really.
Yeah.
Now, when it came to playing against sound system, then that's a whole different genre. That we'll play roots music, music from yard, pre-release, especially cut dub plates, which Lloyd was more specialised on. I would focus on the birthday parties, the weddings, and so forth.
Not to say I couldn't do that, but
there was the house party side of Enforcer, then there was the sound clash side of Enforcer.
And because when I opened a record shop and I had a recording studio, I started to produce recordings as well.
Okay.
Then when it came to playing out of town and playing against other sound systems, all who came into town, Lloyd was the one who done that, and when it came to weddings and so forth, I would concentrate on that. So where we started, once we played Castro a few times, we started to go out of town and play. I think one of the first venues we went was outside to Nottingham, was it? When we went to play one of those Nottingham Sound or Leicester.
Quaker City. I'm not Quaker, Earthquake from Nottingham.
I think it was possibly Earthquake from Nottingham. And I think we sort of, it was a good dance, but we kind of destroyed them on that evening there. So that gave you the sort of stimulus to go on and play further and wider, and so.
And everywhere we went.
When I say destroying, that was musically, not musically we played.
And that was what it was like back in those days. It was like a Man United versus
away, home and away.
And but I mean, you had places like Leeds, Gloucester, places like that. When we used to go there, these people. They won't even go in the dance until we come.
That's what I want to come to. But before I come to that, so you mentioned that Enforcer, as well as having a sound system, had a record shop.
Well, I mean, the record shop came after, but like once we was a sort of established doing all the, because we was getting a lot of birthdays, weddings, doing all.
So you're getting a lot of bookings for house parties.
Quite a lot.
Yeah. So how
not just house parties as well, because like I said, weddings in venues like Pennine Hotel and wherever, rent a hall like the community centre. So
I know the hotels as well.
So it's not just in the house and that. I mean, the house, we only played in Cambridge Street. We only had blues in Cambridge Street where we was living there, but all the other venues we played at was like a Janta, Pennine Hotel, wherever they hired a hall for their weddings or their christenings or whatever. So and our box looked pretty and nice and clean and everything. So it was.
Someone was telling me you had red, gold, and green LEDs.
We had stripes on it, red, gold, and green stripes on the boxes and everything. It was always well.
And not forgetting our beloved Lion of Judah.
Painted on the speakers.
No, the Lion of Judah was our the van, the 7.5 ton.
You had a 7.5 ton van with a Lion of Judah painted on it. So
not the Lion of Judah, but our van was called Judah.
Judah, okay.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we've been all over in that van, and we had it for a good while, didn't we, Cliff?
Yeah.
It was a good old van, It was a box van, 7.5.
So, you know, kind of like now, obviously, you're playing the functions, the family functions, and you're now. How did you build your name? How did you get these bookings out of town? Because, like I said to you at the when we chatted earlier, any sound that's come out of Derby, if you mention it to anyone, everyone sings Enforcer's praises. You know, Enforcer was the sound that put Derby on the map.
Yeah, well,
how did you start that? I mean, you started the sound. You know, how did you market yourself, or how did you get your booking? How did that fan base from in Leeds and other places and Sheffield? How did that start?
It was weird because I mean, you know, we all of a sudden we had all these top sounds.
Like, Mackie himself, he knew Fat Man.
Yeah, Fat Man.
And Mackie, he used to build, like we said, systems for everybody.
Yeah.
And he was into the music scene himself. And he would arrange certain things, like we played Fat Man for the first time in Havana.
In Havana, yeah.
So Mackie arranged that dance with Fat Man?
I think he did, yes. And
in Havana.
And we had a very good night with him. You know, obviously Fat Man was a sound to be respected, and we respect him. He's a nice guy and all that. And we put up a really good show that night, and everybody enjoyed himself. There was no fighting, no arguments.
What year was this roughly?
That was about the 80s.
79-ish.
79. So was that the first big sound you played from
I mean,
Fat Man?
It was well packed out as well. Then we played Quaker as well, and then we went to Birmingham and played Quaker. We played the Young Boys from there. Young Lion, which was a very top sound.
And this is what, 79 or 80?
Yeah, can't remember the exact year, but I mean, it could be, Young Lion could have been around about 1980-ish. 80, because we played Young Lion around about that time, because that's when my record shop, 1980. And and Young Lion was a top sound, up and coming sound in London here. And I don't know who arranged that dance, whether it was Castro.
A lot of people did start to hear about Havana, so you'd have even the guys then from where Leeds or Birmingham or Manchester or wherever, they heard of the Havana Club, and they'll hear Shackles playing down there, and they themselves would phone or come down to the club and try and persuade the owner to give them a date so that they can play down there.
And they always wanted to play the top
and all these sounds wanted to play Havana. Not because only Enforcer was there, but
everyone had heard of Havana, and it was a venue to play.
It was a venue to play.
These sounds from out of town wouldn't come to Derby to play anybody. They wanted to play Enforcer.
Yeah, exactly. They wanted to play Enforcer
because I mean we travelled as well, because we played Shaka in
High Wycombe,
and we played Shaka in Derby. So we put up a good showing of ourselves all that time.
So these initial dances, when Mackie set you up with Fat Man in '79, and then when you played Young Lion in 1980, you kind of like made an impression with these out-of-town sounds.
We was making an impression before all that, but and word gets around, and like I says, I mean, one of the first out-of-town gig was in Nottingham when we played
Earthquake.
They're from Nottingham.
And so we, you know, and travelling to the places, we played in Bristol,
Gloucester.
Who did we play at Bristol?
There's Enterprise, Jaloko. There's
we didn't play another sound system in Bristol, but someone hired us to play at a function. And it was packed out, and word get around. Because that was so functions where we didn't play another sound. We used to play to entertain, and sometimes other sound system, when they play at some function, just play one type of music, which kind of bored people to death. But when we came along at a function, we'd play lovers rock, we'd play a few roots music for the people who wanted to hear that. So it was
a mixture.
We had a good DJ.
We had a good DJ.
We wasn't rude and crude with our DJing, because it can, when you're playing against another sound, it can be very confrontational.
Yeah.
But when you're playing out at a wedding, you have to respect the audience.
Of course,
and children
of course.
And everything.
Yeah.
And so entertain people, and we got a reputation for entertainment. So we was well sought after all over the place.
So basically, you've played with Fat Man and a few big sounds. You made a name for yourself, and you started getting invited to to dances out of town from the impression you made in those dances. How you played with those sounds. So the name got around. And another thing that helped indirectly raise your profile was in your hometown. People from out of town always wanted to play in the Havana Club.
Yes.
So if they played in Havana Club, they would also indirectly play with Enforcer, and another way of them, getting exposure to Enforcer sound.
Not a problem, because I mean, it was Friday nights was the nights that the big dancers was. And
in Havana Club.
Yeah, although Castro was a resident DJ there, Castro would very rare play on a Friday night. It was always us.
So, so you basically, another thing that helped raise your profile is you would always play the visiting sound in Havana.
Always, always.
And that's how they heard you about you as well.
The only time we wouldn't play is if something was wrong with our sound.
No, we would always be playing our song.
Very
rarely anything was wrong with our sound.
But,
But in 1980, when I opened my record shop.
So you opened it in 1980. What was the name of it?
Black Star Records.
Okay.
We used to start promoting our own dancers.
Okay.
And so with our sister, used to be a singer as well. My late sister. We used to promote dancers at venues, Pennine, wherever, and have our own dance. Not necessarily a dance with another sound system.
Yeah.
But we did. Who did we play at Janta? We played. That was one of our promotions at Janta, because there was. They just opened. It used to be an old theatre, picture house or something, and then they wanted to get known to compete with Havana. So they asked us to play there, and I think we played there with another sound. Which was that other sound? I can't remember the sound that came down so long ago.
But it was filmed by the BBC, you said.
It was filmed by the BBC.
I need to find out that.
And
I'm sure you would.
In the Normanton Community Centre, we played there on one of the.
Yeah, we played at
the Normanton Community Centre. There, but yeah, so we started to promote our own dancers as well.
So 1980, the founders of Enforcer have got a record shop, Black Star Records. Was that in the Normanton Pear Tree area?
Normanton Road.
Normanton Road. And how long was that open until?
From 1980 to 1983, 83.
Okay, so in that, having a sound system and a record shop means you've got access to the latest music and links to dub plates?
We had links to dub plates.
And that was mainly through, like I said, a good friend of ours, Mackie, who he knew
a lot of artists.
Yeah, a lot of people in the music business.
And when we went to when we went to get records from Jetstar and things like that, we'll always get talking to them guys there, and they'll say, "Oh, Barrington Levy's over here, John Thomas is over here, or whatever,
Dennis Brown, or Castro Brown as well."
We used to they say they're in England, and we'll get hold of them. And we'll go and cut some music.
Wow. So you've got access to the latest music. You've got access to dub plates. You've got connections with wholesalers like Jetstar in London. They'll tell you when the artists are in town. Hawkeye Records. And then you could get your dub plates.
Get my dub plates.
So that was my next question. Back in the day, dub plates weren't what they are nowadays. Nowadays, dub plate specials are where the artist sings the name of the sound system on the tune.
Yeah, yeah.
Back in the day, though, dub plates were different. My understanding, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is if you've got a hit coming out like, I don't know, Dennis Brown's Revolution, you'll get a cut of that, but different instrumental, maybe a different cut to it that is not commercially available.
Well, what it is, I mean, just give you one example, is that, like, say, Dennis Brown.
Yeah.
Castor Brown, which was Dennis Brown's brother,
yeah,
would do the PA and all that for his brother.
Yeah.
So if we met Castor Brown, he'd have all the master tapes there.
Yeah.
And we'll book an appointment with him to go down to the studio.
Yeah.
And he'll have his 16 whatever track tape, and he'll run it off a dub plate, and without, and you can put on whatever you want, but it'll be just a different version of what's already
of what's commercially sold in the record shop.
Yeah.
So it's an exclusive music.
Yeah, yeah.
Because if all and to the viewers that I don't know about the competitive side of the music amongst reggae sound systems, if every sound system went to the same shop and bought the music, all the music would sound the same. So part of the competition was getting exclusive cuts to the music that no other sound could get.
You have to know the producers. Really.
Yeah, yeah.
The producers are the one who's, like I said, Castor Brown was Dennis Brown brothers, so he was producing. Although Dennis Brown records was being made, he had his label Yvonne Special. That was all Castor Brown used to and all that. So you meet the man who's producing the music, and we'll just book a time down the studio. Come along, we'll go along, and we get what we pay for.
Okay, so
if you had 10 cuts of Dennis Brown, even whatever, he'll give it to you for whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever
so this was the exclusivity.
Yeah.
You know, otherwise, if there was no dub plates, any sounds would go to the same shop, play the same music, and there's no difference between them. There's no competitive edge.
This is what happened. One time we was playing. I don't know if it was Castro Sound. Had a lot of youths that joined it as time went on. Yeah. And they seem to have, one time we played them, they seem to have got bought dub plates which was generic. You know what I mean? Generic.
That a lot of sounds have.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there was nothing exclusive about
exclusive.
Them. Yeah.
When we went to London, we met whoever, and we got the same dub plates, but we had things done differently on them.
Dubbed onto the tune. Yeah.
So we got that in our box. So that means anybody who play whatever generic tune, we'll just come back with them and take out an exclusive one, which is basically the same, but it's been DJ'd over by a popular, one of the top artists. Yeah. And it puts them to shame. Yes, because they can't play that. Yeah, they think they got an exclusive. Yeah. But they think they're the only one. They've been sold a pop, really. Yeah. Because whoever they bought it from told them, nobody else has got this. Yeah. But when they played and they're ranting and raving, oh, we got this, and you just take your art. But what I used to do as well, when you're in the music business, it's not so much about when you're playing against another sound system, having a different version of what they got is ideal. Yeah. But what I was doing in the early days, we could have the same generic as them, but we had an echo chamber, or we had, what I would do when we're playing the record, like twin tape, we didn't have twin turntables, but I would make it sound, I would play a bit of their record, and then I'd just cut in another on the LP, so I'd track off another record, and it made it sound like it's exclusive to us. Okay, so you add a sound effect live to it. Yeah, just like years later it came along when they're doing all that scratching music. Yeah. Well, I started doing something similar like that, So even if you played one of those generic, what you call it, same as ours, we'd do things which make our output sound your little tweak to the tune. So we invested in equipment to allow us to do that. Yeah. So basically, you got obviously music from the record shop. All right, but you didn't just used to basically stay in Derby. You used to buy wholesale music from London record shops. Yeah. So how often did you used to go London to buy? Every week. At least once a week. At least once a week. So you went to London. You got your wholesale. But you also got people travelling around. Delroy Wilson used to come down. Yeah. bigger artists, and you had other artists with their exclusive. These come to Derby to my shop there, and to see me.
Yeah.
And these come to my shop there and take out what they got, and if there's anything which I like, I used to just purchase from them.
Yeah. So you've got exclusive music, you've got exclusive contacts with dub plates. Did you ever cut a special where the artist is saying Enforcer's name
Thomas
on the tune?
Jack Thomas. Remember that tune? What's it called again? A lot of people come in. Hold on.
I think we may have done on one or two occasions.
Yeah. We did.
Yeah.
So there was 1 and 2 specials where Enforcer's name is on the dub plate.
It's been such a long time. I can't exactly remember what they were, but I think we didn't do a great deal because
in those days it wasn't special. It was like just dub plates.
It was dub plates, and like I said, that it was more focused. If you had a dub plate and you had one of the top artists from one of where they sugar.
Remember Jack Thomas was singing about Enforcer on that music?
Yeah.
So that was
because
the rhythm.
With Greensleeve, we went to see
Remember? That was Jack Thomas, and it done with Enforcer in it as well.
Yeah, so I mean.
So you had 1 and 2,
but we had 1 or 2, and that's but mainly it used to be if say if we met Dennis Brown, say, then if we was buying some of his plates there, we would have had him to say something different, or that. But we didn't have a great deal of it done now,
but so that's that, and I know the other sound guys would probably kill you if you didn't mention them. So what were the, and I should have, apologies, I should have asked you to list the members of the sound. So who were Enforcer, if you want to list the crew that were with you?
There was me, Cliff, Brendan, Gary Isaacs, Tipper, Graham,
Bradley,
Rudy, Rupert, Steve Bradbury, and Claudie Barnes, and what's his name?
Henry used to drive us about a lot.
Henry Cooper used to drive us
about a lot. And he helped me a lot.
And what you call it? Couple of them. Jimmy Osani. Bless his soul.
But the main core was me, Lloyd. There was only about 5. Me, Lloyd, Brendan, Rudy, and
Gary.
And Gary. Okay.
A lot of as much can fit in the van as
you can.
I mean, when we was travelling, I mean, there were a whirl of people. I mean, when you look at it like now, would we put all them guys in the back of the van like?
No. You couldn't get away with that nowadays.
No, you couldn't get away with it, and it would have been too dangerous. But obviously, we've been to dances, and we've going to Birmingham, for instance, and we stop off at the service station, and then all of a sudden the back will open up, and all these rastas will just come pouring out the back of the van, and everybody's looking around flipping, what's going down, like, you know what I mean?
So you're building a name for yourself. So your feedback from people from out of town, what was it about Enforcer that they liked? I mean, people can talk about equipment, the selection, the style, how you introduce the records, your MCs or singers. What was it? What was your feedback? What were you getting about Enforcer? Why was it so popular in Yorkshire and other places?
Well, yeah, I mean, musical-wise.
Yeah, the music is the first.
Musical-wise.
You had exclusive selection.
Yeah, they couldn't. I mean, when we no matter who we played against, and like Cliff said, I mean, they can have the same music as us, but it's how you play
the delivery,
how you deliver it and things like that.
And so you kind of like, you had a unique style of delivery.
We had a unique style. I mean, wherever we go, you know, at the end of the night, you know, well, I mean, you could hear it from the crowd when we used to play. The place used to go absolutely wild.
And was the mic man something to do with this? Who was the main mic man for Enforcer?
Claude was.
Claude Barnes.
We had a quality of sound. The reproduction of the sound was quality to begin with.
So it sounded crisp.
You could hear what was being sung. You could hear what was being DJ'd, and we was entertaining. Entertaining the people is the most important thing. So and you have to be able to distinguish from, like I said, function, playing after function, or playing against another sound system. Because although both sound systems can play entertaining music, some sound system would play roots all night long, where we would mix it up. We would play roots when it came to the part of the evening where it was you see who's got the better music, because basically when you're playing against another sound system, it's who's got the better music, who's got the exclusive music, but also who could deliver clean, crisp, with power. We had the power of, and like I said, we didn't engage too much in all the foul languages and all that kind of stuff.
The profanity.
But sometimes we was dragged that way to defend ourselves. But some sound system, they got a reputation of
just being rude
and cruel, and something that we was against. But obviously
we could stand
you never indulge in slackness.
We respect people like Fat Man. We respect Shaka, because there was sound system that have been there, done it, and they would bring us onto their bill, and we would respect that. We wouldn't try to disrespect them in any way whatsoever. We respected them.
The only way we would disrespect them is musical wise, but not verbal.
No, you would let the music do the talking.
The music,
not silly jokes and stuff like they do nowadays. Any sound man looks at how they do sound clash nowadays, and some parts of what they indulge in, they just don't like. But you know, what were some of your anthems, Enforcer anthems, and artists that used to draw people? What was your favourite artist that you had the most dub plates of? And what tunes always used to, make you win clashes?
In the early days was Kunta Kinte.
Kunta Kinte,
and Aswad.
Aswad, and
Warriors Charge.
Johnny
Clark. I mean, we was playing a lot of those sort of music. Twinkle Brothers. Brothers. Prince Far Eye. And Winston Rodney, Burning Spears. I mean, that was, if you listen to all them music I just read off, they're all roots music.
So you were essentially a Rasta sound.
Those music there was to play in a clash with another sound.
The Kunta Kinte one would be our iconic one.
Anyone who doesn't know Kunta Kinte, look it up. Kunta Kinte reggae on YouTube, wicked.
We had lots of cuts of that one. But when was that? When we was playing at the Soul wedding function? Ain't No Stopping Us Now used to be our signature tune.
Ain't No Stopping Us Now. Okay.
That used to be our opening theme, and you could get the dance floor filled with that.
And I was speaking to Errol Squires. He was telling me that you had a good link for Al Campbell dubs as well.
Al Campbell as well. Yes. Al Campbell was one of our signature tunes as well.
Right. Well, before we go into some memorable clashes, you were also minor celebrities as well on national TV, because you actually, Lloyd and the crew, played a game of pool in front of the national press and TV cameras with Prince Charles at that time, who is now King Charles. Back in 1981. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to play you a clip of that news report, vintage news report from 1981, and we'll come back to it to discuss. So here's the clip.
That's why. Hey, you put one of those world champion. You're like Space Invader. Vina. No matter with the bag, man. Just try and get back there now. I just tried this already. That's all. No, which one do you recommend? I got to do the white one. Yeah, that one there. Anyone you want? Yeah, I know. I just trying to think. You've arranged them so that I can't possibly get them in. I want to get that. Weird that you're brilliant. Weird that you're brilliant. I was in the other place. So what's up now? Go on, you show me how to do it. I'll show you how to do it, Prince. Can't win all the time. Do you put any money on it? Do you put any money on things like that? No, I don't gamble. It's against religion. That's quite right. Let's see. Very good. Send the shade off. Oh no, I thought so. Hey, whose is this? It's yours, is it? Yeah. It's not fair. Lifetime of practice. I'm the champion, I'm coaching him. Just fluky. I like the way you've got the thumb arranged. We ain't got no job. Did you have one before? Yeah, I did have one before. What was that? Car cleaning. What did Saturday? Why was that? Didn't clean it properly.
Okay, so that was the clip of Prince Charles's visit to Derby in 1981. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that and how you beat him in the pool?
Well, I mean, obviously, you know, Prince Charles was there, and we came up there. We had to dress nicely, and
yeah. So you're wearing the tie and the waistcoat. Tie and
the waistcoat, you know, I mean, as you do.
Yeah.
We was playing a pool. I asked him if he wanted a game, and he says, "Yeah, okay." So we started playing pool, and I eventually beat him. But there was one particular moment in there.
Yeah.
Me and King Charles was talking.
Yeah.
And he said to me, he says, "Oh, I think I asked him, have you met Haile Selassie?" And he says, "Yeah, I mean, funny enough, if you look at this watch here, this was given to me by Haile Selassie."
So he's got a watch from Haile Selassie.
Yeah. Okay. And I thought, oh, well, that was a nice little...
Yeah.
Because, you know...
So what was he? Was it like? Was he visiting Derby after the riots, or was it kind of like, or is it a national visit, or after his wedding, or what was?
No,
what was
it was something to do with the community.
Okay, so he was visiting a Sikh temple as well, wasn't he? And,
it was
Polish community centre.
That's right, the Polish club. Remember, Clifton?
Yeah.
And you know where all the Jamaicans lived around
Normanton,
and that was I think it was.
What was the name of that place where you played pool with him?
It was a community centre, innit?
Yeah.
It was our community centre at that period of time.
Yeah.
And you know, obviously.
That calf where you played it, what was that calf?
The calf was Earl's Calf, innit? Earl's Calf. It was a community centre, and you know. It was. I didn't know up till this day that we would have seen a picture of King Charles and the mighty enforcer playing pool.
Yeah. So memorable piece of history there.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
Yeah. So that was at the community centre in Derby.
In Derby, yeah.
Right. So Enforcers, obviously in its heyday. You've got bookings outside of Derby. You've got a record shop. You've got connections with artists for dub plates. You've got access to the most music, and you're building a name for yourself. Name me some of the most memorable clashes. Again, I've got to thank Errol Squires. He mentioned a couple, but before I mention those, anything that comes to mind as some of your memorable clashes?
Fat Man.
Fat Man in Derby. Yeah?
In Derby.
Yeah.
Jatubbies.
Jatubbies from London.
Yeah, from London.
Where was that dance?
That was in Derby.
In Derby, yeah.
Shaka.
Shaka.
Yeah. Down in High Wycombe.
High Wycombe, okay.
And in Derby.
Yeah.
There was.
I think almost all those sounds we play. It was great. It was you know, I don't think we've had one. I think the only one bad experience that we've had was with our local protagonist. We had a terrible with Castro that night where it was being a bit rude on the mic and all that.
Which sound system was that?
Castro, but
Castro, yeah.
all the rest was confrontational, but it was good music.
It was a musical confrontation.
Yeah, I mean, if you go to say Leicester or Nottingham or Birmingham, and you come away at the end, you're shaking hands and you're having a laugh. There was one occasion when we played against Castro, which wasn't a very nice experience.
Were they your main derby? You know, in your hometown, there's always a competitor, a rivalry in Derby, in your hometown with the next sound. Was Castro your main rival in Derby?
Yeah, I mean, Castro himself, the man himself, is a very respectable guy, and sometimes you get others that's a bit mouthy and a bit disrespectful, and
well, I think we expect that because, you know, there's no way another sound is gonna disrespect me, and I ain't gonna give them the same what they give us.
Of course.
But it's not us who'll be starting it first.
No, not at all. But so all our wherever we travel to, we came away.
Yeah,
and with a good report, and when we went back the second time or whatever, you'd always have a crowd of people waiting and cheering you back because you know through their previous experience. So yeah, all those sounds we played. Yeah,
you played.
I don't think for me.
Yeah,
personally, playing against Fat Man was the highlight. Because they was very well respected in the quality of their music.
Yeah.
They played good music.
Yes.
You know, they played good music and they entertained as well. And it was always respectful, and yeah, I mean that's what we tried to emulate really. Shaka was another. Shaka was good, but he had his roots.
He was more roots.
And but he was very respectful because he looked at us as like up and coming, and so therefore he had his own style.
I mean, we played some sounds, and you know, there's a sound called Lord David.
Lord David, where were they from?
They was from Lord David. Very good sound as well, you know.
He emigrated to Canada, I think.
Yes. But you know, I mean, the majority of sounds what even now today, Java sound system.
You played against Java?
We played Java as well, you know.
I mean, Young Lion was a
Long Lion.
When we played against Young Lion, that was a nice entertainment. Now they're very Young Lion was obviously like it's young boys there,
but you remember as well. I mean, we played sound like Mafia Tone.
Mafia Tone from Birmingham.
Mafia Tone from Birmingham, you know. And I'm sure we played with Moambasa one at a time.
From London.
From South London, Moambasa.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, those sounds there are legendary sounds, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, them sounds gone now, but I tell you, those was back in those days.
We held our own. We was respected, and like I said, we respected all the other sounds there because they had something to offer, and we was all, you know, we was all doing the same thing. Really, basically, I mean, the way reggae music sort of it was back in Jamaica and all that. It was always places where politically they could send a message through the, you know, where people could hear through the music and all that. But I mean, like in England here, whether it's Derby or London, where the venues which you could play at was limited in the bigger scheme of things. So and to play reggae music the way we did it and the way other sound systems did to give entertainment to the black community was, you know, it was what was needed. And it sort of developed over the years into everyone now promoting their own sound by hiring halls and venues. And but in the early days, it was for us in Derby, it was just Havana and what we say blues or house parties or whatever.
I heard that you played Jungle Man.
Yeah, Jungle Man.
And basically, according to by all accounts, you actually annihilated them in the clash.
Oh yeah.
What happened during that clash, and where was that, and what year was that?
That was at Winston Green.
That was in Birmingham, in their backyard.
Right in the backyard.
Well, the thing is, it's just like I was saying earlier. I mean, they all come out with music that they think was exclusive.
Yeah.
And the biggest shame is when you play about 10 cuts of what they think was exclusive.
So what kind of exclusive music were they playing against with you?
Well, whatever dub music they played.
Yeah.
And they say,
you had counteractions to that.
Yeah, I mean, whatever they came out and played, almost every one that they played, we could come back with 10 versions of whatever they played.
Okay, so you basically answered them back with music.
Yeah, and the thing is that's embarrassing, because can you imagine being in a nightclub, packed out, and you're saying this and saying that, this is exclusive and all this, like it,
and then all of a sudden
we come back with 10. Then you know, where do you?
What year was this? Roughly.
What was it? You had it on here.
So that's the way that you.
That was in Winston Green, and I also heard that when you played against Shaka, you basically answered him back by playing back in his style.
Yeah.
So how did that come about?
It was Kunti Kinti, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I mean, Shaka was a very heavyweight sound system.
Still is.
I mean, the reproduction of his bass line was second to none, really.
Yeah.
And we delivered a very powerful bass line. He was using like the traditional valves.
Yeah.
And we came extremely close, if not some records better than you know, with a heavy bass as well.
Yeah.
But Fat Man always used to be the one that had quality of reproduction of the sound. Fat Man sound was, and I think we did really well with Fat Man. Our quality was just as good. So I mean, the thing is, I don't know how Shaka got on with Fat Man, but we got some plates off Fat Man because we got on well with Fat Man. So if we was going to play somebody else, we'll go to so and so X Y Z.
So it wasn't. I mean, we got some plates off Fat Man only because him and
Mackie.
No, Prince Jammies. Prince Jammies. So he had that link with Prince Jammies.
Yes, because Ribs, when he was with Fat Man, and even when he started Unity, he always had that connection with Jammies.
Yeah. I mean, that's why Fat Man was such a good sound, because Jammies, if you listen to how Jammies play and you listen the music what Fat Man plays, it's on the same level. But for some reason, Fat Man music, when he was playing the sound system, I got, you know, boy.
But the thing is, I mean, if we was going to play Shaka tomorrow, say,
how would you prepare for that?
Well, the thing is, I mean, if you know, Shaka's based in London, isn't he?
Yeah.
And then we'll be talking to other sounds in London, and they'll know what music Shaka are playing, all that. So we just try to go and meet someone who's got something different. Or they'll say to us, "Oh, Shaka's always playing this one here." But Shaka used to have exclusive music which we couldn't get. But if you happen to have one particular music which another producer had, then he'll say to you, "Oh, he's got this one, but he hasn't got this one."
Okay. So you should do your homework with London sounds and find out what Shaka's got and get what he hasn't got.
I mean, you can't buy generics, so it's always more expensive because it's all cost.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, the generics are cheap out there back in the day there, where everybody can have. And it's okay to have a generic if you're just going to play by yourself and entertain, but when you're going to come up against a very top sound, you try to have something that is almost exclusive.
So your connections in London told you?
Well, yeah, I mean, because the majority of sounds, especially if it's coming from London, they'll all be listening to each other, and they'll all have different producers, like Lloyd says, Jammies with Fat Man and somebody else with Shotgun. But they'll all be talking to each other. And if you go to a venue and they're playing, oh, they got this one here, but they haven't got this one here. So it's a case where doing your homework first.
You're doing your homework and preparing for the clash.
Preparing.
Okay. Did you record a lot of your... This is my biggest hang up when it comes to recordings, as Lloyd knows very well, with the harassment I've been giving you and the harassment I've been giving Tipper and Claudie, and who will probably watching this probably understand. In the time I've known you, Lloyd, I mean, I've known you for a few years, on and off, but recently I've been kind of like obviously trying to find Enforcer audio. I think I've been phoning you sometimes 3 times a day. But why is it so difficult to get Enforcer tapes now? Because no doubt people recorded Enforcer on ghetto blasters, didn't they, in those days? There's no sound recording through the sound of Enforcer.
Yeah, but there's no... I mean, it baffles me how these sound got their audio.
Yeah. And
obviously, back in those days, we never really had...
It's a strange one. We often ask ourselves this because we don't even have a lot of pictures to...
Yeah, you know what I mean?
It's one of our biggest regrets because...
exactly, you know, I mean...
Because I've only come across one audio of Enforcer, and that's a 6-minute clip on YouTube from 1982. And that's it.
And that's it,
I've asked...
For saying a sound like Enforcer, you'd have thought that they'd have had some form of archive, tapes or whatever. But, you know, one can appreciate it. I mean, back in those days, was we bothered about all that? No, we wasn't.
You were just more about the night, what's happening on the night.
On the night, you know what I mean? I mean, if you look in Ironside and say, well, Ironside's a good thing.
There was a lot of ghetto blasters in that.
There was a lot of ghetto blasters.
We should have. Claude Barnes had a ghetto blaster.
Because I asked Claude Barnes, and he's another guy.
But it's just.
It's something we do. You know, it's even like photos. Even we never had. We never had nothing, and that is one of my biggest regrets, because who would have known that something like this was going to happen after all these years. You know what I mean? And it sure would be a good thing, because there's a lot of people out there, you know, Enforcer is a big name.
Of course, and there should be tapes of Enforcer.
Yeah, it's a big name, and, you know, you look back and we look back now, I mean, when the dances that we've been to, and we can say mostly, the majority of dances we've been to it wasn't just fun, it was cark.
Yeah, and people. There was also a rumour that people wouldn't enter the dance till they saw your. What was the story behind that?
Well, I mean, for instance, I mean, I know, we used to play up in Leeds a lot, and Gloucester a lot, and we played, Birmingham and all, and but Leeds and Gloucester, them Monday, they wouldn't even come in the dance. No matter if we was an hour late. And they'll see the van coming up the road. And that's when everybody go crazy. They say, "Oh, Enforcer's here." Oh,
that's when they would pay their money.
That's when they pay their money and go in the dance. But they ain't going in the dance until Enforcer comes. And a sound might be in there already. But they ain't even worried about that sound, man. When Enforcer walk through, when they know that Enforcer is coming up, they'll see the line of Judah, our van, coming up the street.
Then
they start rushing in, say, "Boy, I'm going to go and get my spot before." You know.
And also, you were somewhat of a ladies' sound as well. Is that right?
Yeah. Oh, the girls did love our sound. Girls would love our sound.
I think if you're an entertaining sound,
yeah, we was very entertaining.
Because you were diverse in your musical selection.
In the musical selection. We know what the thing about Enforcer, we knew when to play roots and culture, and we knew when to play lovers rock. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think in any DJ, you got to know how to mix up your music. You know what I mean? I mean, no disrespect to the DJs today, but if the DJs could do what I done back in those days there, where I was toasting, I was selecting music, I had to run to the toilet and come back, and I've got to know exactly what music, where that music is in that record box. You know what I mean? And this is what those guys there who does that. I mean, sometimes some of the guys up in Derby call me to do play on a session for them. You know what I mean? Guest DJ. Yeah. Now, when I go and play with these guys, did Derby for instance, as a guest DJ, you know, not one of them could trouble me, because I was the only one out of probably 3-4 DJs there. Got vinyl. Right. I got vinyl. So you know, where they would line up their music on the computer or wherever, you know, I've got to be working my brain. Where is that music? Flashing through it. You know, and you know, and I still kept up with them. You know, you know, I knew exactly where everything is, and those guys, those are who I call DJs, mate. You know.
And you know, Enforcer, was there one particular MC or singer that stood out?
My sister.
Yeah.
Bless her soul. She was a singer.
She used to sing on Enforcer.
She used to sing on Enforcer. And
what was her name for
Babette.
Babette. Okay.
Babette.
Yeah. Rest in peace.
Yeah, bless her soul. And Claude Barnes.
Claude Barnes. Yeah.
Yeah, he used to do a lot of DJing for me. I used to do it, but you know, sometimes you have to just say, you know, you do it. Yeah. Because I couldn't be doing that, and I'm toasting, and there's a record I need to change soon. Then no, I have to get to the DJ.
Claude Barnes was the main.
DJ.
Yeah, he was the main DJ.
Yeah. So what was your? This may be the same question. I was going to say, what was your favourite places outside of Derby to play, and where did you have your most fan base out of Derby, where the crowd was very warm to Enforcer? You always have a second home outside of Derby.
I'd say Leeds. Leeds and Gloucester.
Those two places.
Them two places was, and you know, even them two places there, they had all the big sounds coming to their places. You don't get them wrong. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, I'm sure somewhere on the Leeds program. Yeah. I'm sure it was me and Shaka did play on the Leeds program. Yeah. You know, and even Little Gloucester there. Yeah. You know, he had big sound, Jungle Man or Mafia or one of them.
So it's not like they were starved of sound. No, they had big sounds, but they always remembered you.
Yeah, exactly. If I'm going to go there, you know what I mean? You know, say, I'm not going there to play with some dibby sound. I'm going there to play with a big sound. Yeah. You know what I mean? And most of the places, but like you say, I mean, we had that love and we had that affection with all the other sounds or wherever we went. But I find Leeds
was the place.
Boy, Leeds was a place for me, mate. You know, they we could sleep over there. They invite us in the house. You know what I mean? Same with Gloucester. You know what I mean? Put you up for the day, because we used to play. You know, we used to remember you're coming from Derby to Leeds, and you know, we have to get there for what roughly around 10 o'clock. So they're travelling, and then set up the sound, pull down the sound, and then go and play in the blues straight after that. We don't get back till like daylight. And sometimes we don't even come back. We, you know, because of some of the guys over there, and and or you met a girl, you would stay in their house, and there was a welcoming, you know.
Yeah. So so the record shop, Black Star Records, that opened in 1980, yeah. And when did that close?
No, it didn't close. I sold that on to another person.
Yeah.
And so they continued.
What year was that roughly?
1983 I sold it on.
82?
83 I sold
83,
it on, yeah.
Okay.
I sold it on and then I moved to London.
Okay. So, yeah, I wanted to, I mean, forgive me if I'm wrong, so Enforcer really started in 79, is that correct?
I would say, yeah. I mean, in the form of playing at big venues.
Yeah, it was 79. Yeah. And then when did Enforcer end?
Well, I moved to London in 1984.
84.
So I'd say it was about 83, yeah.
I came to London in 1984, so
yeah, so 83.
So because it wasn't my intention for Enforcer to end there.
Yeah.
But it's just circumstances really, because I was planning to go back to Derby.
Yeah.
And continue with a recording studio, you know, but life have its own turns, and yeah, I ended up staying in London, not going back to Derby, and I went into management, and it just sort of petered out over the years, and I think after a while it would have been too hard to go back into again. Yeah, so it wasn't our intention for it to end in 83, but it's just a way.
So was it 83 or 84?
I'd say 83.
83.
Yeah, because I came to London.
Because you came later on.
So there was no dances played in 84 with Enforcer?
No.
Okay, so basically you had a good 4-year run with Enforcer.
Yeah, it came to an end, which was, like I said, it was regrettable, but
all good things come to end.
It wasn't our intention for it to end.
Yeah,
it's just that circumstances, because Lloyd was already living in London. He already moved to London in 82 probably, or 81.
But you still came up to play.
Yes.
And I sold a record shop, and I was going into producing music, which I had produced music already, and I was building a recording studio to go back to Derby and continue. But like I said, circumstances didn't allow me to do that, and so that's basically what happened.
So 83 was officially the end of
the last year that we hadn't played or anything.
Well, we can honestly say that, you know, Enforcer really put that Derby on the map.
Well, I'm telling you, if you look at the threads on Facebook, people to this day from outside of Derby.
I think it's a case. Yeah, I mean, we should have gone on longer.
We should have gone on longer, yeah.
And I think, you know, it's just a case of the sudden end, because we was on a high in 83 still.
Yeah.
We was on a high, and like I said, most people who used to move in our circles knew my intention was to go back to Derby. Yeah. And but you know, it's just didn't happen, and I had 1 or 2 events in my personal life which I had to deal with, and before you know it, time has flown by. Yeah. And wasn't able to go back and pick up from where we left off. Yeah.
And what happened to Enforcer's equipment?
Well, we left it with some guardians over there who was part of the sound system, followers of the sound system. Yeah. And Lloyd, he got quite a bit of records from the record box, but the rest was sort of
It just went.
Just got dispersed.
It just got dispersed, you know. I mean.
So all the dub plates and music.
Well, not the dub plates, but
the equipment. And all
the equipment and all that, like, you know, it just went.
It got dispersed.
Yeah, the thing is, I mean, we had quite a lot of big equipment, and where I was staying at the time when I first came down here, I didn't have my own place. Didn't have my own place. There was nowhere to store it, so it was being stored at one or two people's places back in Derby. And obviously, it came a time when they had to need a space. So, well, in order for it to pay way in people's asking convenience, they had to do what they had to do. If they had to sell it or whatever the case is.
Yeah, no, of course.
Because I mean, although the sound system wasn't a business.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't a business. It was
more of
a hobby, like
enjoyment.
Something that we had to do. I suppose sound system takes a lot of investment and all that kind of stuff. And you know, today's model of a sound system, you can make a lot of money out of it. And we was kind of breaking even way back then. But if I had saw it as a business, then I mean, we could have bought it down here and carry on. But I sort of didn't want to go back into. I wasn't going to be doing the sort of playing against Shaka Fatman and all that kind of stuff. And I decided to go on a different
career route,
and and I didn't fancy lifting these big boxes to weddings and all that kind of stuff. But in our youth, when we was young, it was great.
You got to travel to meet a lot of people.
It was great.
Plays the best music on a massive sound system.
It was great while it lasted.
And so none of the music or dub plates are around now.
No, I mean, I've got music, but I ain't got the dub plates and you know what I mean.
And the mission now is Enforcer Audio. So if you want to give a shout out and an appeal to anyone about Enforcer tapes that you know.
Well, it'd be great. I'll be grateful if anybody out there could find any pictures, tapes, audio. You know, we'd be well over the moon, because obviously we never thought about that back in the days, and you know, when you compare to like now, if I had a sound system now, it'd be all edited and, you know, archived. We would have loads of tape, loads of film, loads of picture. So if anybody out there listening or watching this, like I said, I'll be over the moon if anybody could come up with some tapes.
I mean, those people that have got live recordings of Enforcer, I mean, we can digitize the audio. You'll get back your tape. If you want it on a CD, we'll put it on a CD. But the important thing is having a legacy, because it's one thing people watching this interview and, you know, feeling inspired by the story, but how are they supposed to feel how Enforcer played if there's no audio? And like I said, the only legacy audio-wise, there's a few photos, and there's that, obviously, the Prince Charles Archive film. But, you know, if the only audio is 6 minutes of Enforcer in '82, that's a shame.
That's a shame.
So those people who are watching this, who I've harassed, please, now you know how serious I am about maybe keeping the legacy of Enforcer alive by having those tapes, and get in contact with Lloyd or myself, or, you know, Claude, or, you know, anyone else. And you know, give it. Obviously, messaging us on YouTube or Facebook, and this interview will be going on to online shortly. So if anyone would like to leave your comments and stories and memories of Enforcer, but also please help us keep the legacy alive by giving us some access to some of those recordings, or if you know anyone who has any recordings of Enforcer, please let us know. It would be greatly appreciated. Right, well, Cliff and Lloyd, I've taken up a lot of your Sunday. this young man on the side has been so well behaved, right, for 1.5 hours. I've got to shake his hand and say thank you. And yeah, before we go, yeah, do you want to shake? You want to shake their hands? You want to shake? Right.
Well, all we can say, thanks very much indeed.
Thank you. And just lastly, a message. Whatever message you'd like to give to your fans and the public, your reflections on your life experiences, anything you want to share with the public before we end.
Well, all I can say is it was a good journey, and I won't be here today if it wasn't for you lots.
The fans.
All my fans, you know what I mean? And, you know, there's a lot of memories of Enforcer, and, you know, especially the ones in Derby. You know, we've put you on the map, you know, and that's all we can do. Stay blessed and respect to the maximum.
Thank you guys, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
do it.